Welcome to Sky Women. I'm your host, Dr. Carolyn Moyers, a wife, mom, and board-certified OB-GYN. This is a place to educate, empower, and inspire. Join us each week as we share the power of women's stories. Real women, real stories, real inspiration. Put on your stretchy pants. Let's get going. Welcome, Sky community. Welcome back to another episode of Sky Women. Wherever you're listening today, I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation with Dr. Laurie Boge. Dr. Laurie Boge is a ER physician, and she is the founder of Green Cloud Apparel, which is the most amazing scrubs you'll ever put on. And she's also a veteran who combined her passions to create Green Cloud. Welcome, Laurie.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was meant to be, right? Sky Women and Green Cloud. I mean, we just go together. So
absolutely. Absolutely. So I have heard about your scrubs for some time and can't get over how gorgeous they are. The tops are just to die for. I mean, they really look and feel luxurious. And, when you order things online, sometimes I think we're always worried about the fit and this and that. And so I was so excited to meet you at Authenticity, Courage, and Empowerment for Women Physician Conference. And you had a booth and we got to try on the scrubs and it was a lot of fun. Ladies, I have to tell you, the colors and the fabric is just so fabulous. And there's really got to be a fascinating story here, Laurie, because a lot of people have ideas about what they could do, but actually implementing it, I think, is phenomenal.
Yes. So it is quite a story. I probably started thinking about Green Cloud my intern year, which was over 20 years ago, when I finally got to wear scrubs. I was so excited and I chose emergency medicine. And so scrubs obviously was what I was going to wear every single day. And at time we were getting our scrubs from the operating. And so when I went to put them on, I felt like a little child putting on my dad's clothes. And I'm
100%.
And other physicians are supposed to take me serious, like in these clothes that just did not fit me at all. And
they're literally like just box. It's just, there's no shape to them.
And they didn't have sizes even that fit me back then. So it was like rolling them a couple times and, and tying the string, and it was ridiculous. And so the idea was planted then, but I was too busy being a physician or learning how to be a physician. And at the same time, I trained military, and I was in the military for a total of about 8 years. And so not only was I wearing these horrible scrubs, but I was also wearing the uniform in the military that was mostly made for men, but then modified a little bit for a female. But still, I felt with everything I was wearing that I couldn't feel like me. And so the idea was definitely planted there. But then I was too busy being a physician, and I put all this time and energy and training into being a doctor. And so I kind of got stuck with, that's what I should do. That's what I'm good at. That's what I meant to do. So anytime the idea would surface, I would sort of be like, that's a crazy idea. You're too busy.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane. Stick with what you're good at. Right. But, when something calls you, it's going to keep bothering you until you do something about it. So a couple years ago, I decided to finally do something about it. And at that time, I found a couple designers. I live in Miami, so it was easy to find a couple designers, to find a branding team, to look to people that were experts in this area and sort of help my dream to life. So we just started, and, I had no idea if it would ever get off the ground, but I had so much fun designing scrubs and, sourcing the best material I could find. Our scrub materials from Japan, our jacket material is made from recycled products from Italy. So I'm really proud about everything we were able to put together. And then, in 2021, October 4th, Green Cloud launched, and it's been so much fun. So all I can say is you can do more than one thing, So if you feel like loving this, you also want to do something else, totally go for it, because it's been so.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is an important lesson for all of us, right? Like, regardless of what we've trained to do, regardless of where we are, if we feel this tugging, this, like, your inner voice, kind of calling you to do something else, like, it is possible to break out of the mold of what you've always known, right? And, some people make it, why is this emergency doctor, designing scrubs? Well, who better, right? Because you've lived in scrubs for a large part of your life, and you know how uncomfortable they are. You know how ill-fitting they are, and you do not feel feminine or empowered in any way.
Exactly. And so, when I work with these fashion designers, I mean, they're great with clothes, but I had to teach them so much about scrubs, right? Like, the material had to be machine washer, dryer friendly. They should not or could not require ironing. I mean, they have to last, wash after wash. Like, for certain things that I was like, no, this won't work. This won't work. This will. And then the fit had to be super comfy, nothing tight, nothing restrictive. If I'm going to suture, I don't want anything hanging on to my patient. So, like, all these, I think about probably way too much, but helped come up with what we have today. And it's been a process, but I think it's also been a natural progression, because the last 6 years of my career, I was in academic medicine, where I ended up really focusing on mentoring and sponsoring women in medicine. So Green Cloud's mission, although to make, the nicest, softest, cutest scrubs out there, is really about making women feel and look as amazing as the work they're doing. Because I have just seen over the years the burnout amongst women in medicine. I mean, it's itself, and we need to come together, support each other, make each other feel special. And that's why whenever I get asked, where's the men's line, I'm like, ladies first. I'm focusing on women. I don't know if we'll ever line, but I'm all about supporting women and helping them just feel a little bit better when they get dressed to go, do their work that day.
Yeah. Well, I love it because they're gorgeous enough that they truly could be worn as a lounge outfit or out and about. I mean, it really is gorgeous. This could be worn by, attorneys and hairdressers and everybody else.
Teachers have bought them. A pilot bought them because she said, in between flights, just throwing these comfy scrubs on, I can, stick them in my suitcase. They won't really wrinkle. So it's fun to branch out a little bit, because really I wanted tops that I could wear with jeans on a day off, or the joggers with the tank top on a day off I love. So I don't think we have to stick within this boxy scrub look.
Yeah, absolutely. They're so gorgeous. And so you're going to have to send me some pictures, or I'll get some from your website, and we'll use that for promotion. Okay. So let's back it up a little bit. So you entered the military, became an ER physician. So you did your training in the military. Is that right?
Yes. I trained at Fort Hood, Texas, and in emergency medicine. So I was an intern in 2001. So, we all remember where we were on September 11th. And I was on my ortho rotation and was like, oh no, I'm in the Army. I'm emergency medicine. What have I signed up for? And so it was tough seeing almost all of my attendings deploy and come back different. And it's hard to explain how different they were, but the effects of war change people. And so I watched this for 3 years because, as a resident, you're safe. Yeah. And then I graduated, you're still safe until you take your boards. But, within weeks after that, I received my letter notifying me I was being deployed. And so I did spend some time over in Baghdad at the busiest trauma hospital, able to help save so many lives. It was really an incredible experience. Not that I recommend war. It was horrible, but it's kind of like one of those, the best and worst experiences of your life.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And being a female, you're already a minority in the military and, as a physician in the military, I would assume.
I was only female in my class in residency. And then there were 2 females in our group of 40 plus physicians that deployed. So it was interesting. I mean, all the doctors had to live on the 3rd and 4th floor of the hospital since we were constantly taking care of Marines and soldiers. So yeah, you just work. I learned to work well with men, obviously. It'd be nice to have more female amongst us, but that's just how the military is.
So did you face any discrimination that you can talk about or want to talk about?
I mean, yeah, there's so much that you just kind of think it's normal. And from an early age, you just start playing in the sandbox and accept it. Yeah. And I did pretty well at playing in the sandbox. But over the years, as I sort of got wiser, I would notice the differences. And I think it's also the help of the younger generation, right? Because they don't allow it as much, and they will stand up and speak. So they've actually motivated me to do the same. But yes, absolutely, there's been tons of discrimination.
Yeah. I was interviewed on a podcast recently and asked specifically about that. And it really kind of blew my mind as I was asked it. It surprised me because I hadn't really thought about it or put my finger on it, because it, like you said, it is stuff that we just put up with as women, like from how a male colleague may touch you in the OR or may comment on your body, or, all of the things that potentially happen as a woman. And now looking back, it's like, I should have said something like that. Is entirely inappropriate. How would a man receive that? Or look, they probably like it. Right? I'm not trying to man hate, but typically men like it if you comment on their body, right. Especially favorable.
Yeah,
an intrusion of privacy, of our own, autonomy. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost where you just, at the time, you just let it go.
Yeah.
Anything
you don't want to rock the boat. Yeah.
But, thank goodness times are changing. And I think women are obviously speaking up more. And I do believe men are realizing that that's not acceptable anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty bad being deployed and in the military for sure.
And I can only imagine living in the hospital for long periods of time.
And, everything's shared and so, and over there we wore camouflage scrubs again that were from the OR, made for men. So all along I've had this crazy idea and just decided to finally do something about it, but kind of combining the scrubs and the mission to help support women.
Yeah, I love it. So you have this idea and you go, okay, I'm going to find a designer. Like, what does that look like? You just research designers, or you have a friend who knows a friend, or you're like, hey, I'll pay you for a prototype. Can we kickstart this? Did you raise money to create Green Cloud? What does that look like?
Great questions. So you start talking with people, and, a friend that works in the fashion industry knew someone, and then I spoke with them, and other friends started reaching out to friends. So, you interview a few people, and then you finally find someone that you connect with. So of course I found an all-women team that typically helped bring small new businesses to life. So they really took my dream of, hey, look, I want to make these well-fitting, luxurious scrubs. And they just would ask a lot of questions, and we would start sketching, and then we would make prototype after prototype with all different materials. So it was about an 18-month process to get our very first set, the Blackwell set, named after Dr. Blackwell, the first female physician.
Yeah.
So about 18 months to get those. And then we just kept slowly adding different styles. And we even have a couple more styles coming up in the next few months.
Oh, that's exciting. All right. That's so exciting. Okay. What has been like the biggest milestone in your business that you're most proud of?
I mean, I'm having so much fun, and I decided when I started this that I wasn't going to set specific difficult goals, right? Because I've done that my whole life. I've pushed myself so hard, delay of gratification,
Yeah.
this every step of the way, that I said, you know what, let me just try this. I have this much money. I didn't seek outside investors. I started this all on my own. Of course, my husband supports, and he helps take packages to UPS every day, but really, and I said, let's just keep expectations low, because reality minus expectations is happiness, right? So I've really enjoyed every step of the way. And I mean, from the very first sale to every time my little Shopify rings that I got another sale, I just get so excited. And then to meet so many women that have reached out and said, oh my gosh, I haven't felt good in years, and you're helping me feel great when I go to work. And these just feel so amazing. It makes me so happy. And so, I'm celebrating every small victory, and I really don't know where Green Cloud's going to go, but I have big dreams. And so I hope it keeps growing, because a big part of our company is to just keep giving back to women in medicine and help them to take the head seat at the table. Because I think we just need to be making more decisions. So, I mean, it's getting opening was huge, right? The opening day and going to conferences and meeting women is probably one of the funnest parts, because
Sure.
you need to feel them and try them on. And then you realize how magical they are. So meeting women in conferences is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. So were you at Pinnacle Conference as well? Were you at ACE and Pinnacle? Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's very good.
Scrubs and Heels is an amazing group of female gastroenterologists that just want to, dress up a little bit. And so that was a natural meeting. And so we did that one. And, we have a few more planned in the future, but, right now there's a lot of busy things going on. So we can only do so many each year. But yeah, that's
sure. Well, I mean, that's part of your marketing, right? You're getting out and about and meeting other female physicians. So tell me, how many staff members do you have right now?
So it's me full time. I still work emergency medicine 1 to 2 days a week, but I usually will do that on the weekends so that I can run the business during the week. Madi is running all of my social media and website, so she's keeping everything there. And then I have a couple other women who help just part-time in the distribution center and with the orders. And then I just recently hired a college student who's studying marketing and psychology, and she's
brilliant.
She's super excited about helping with the marketing side, because I feel like I've kind of gone through the proof of concept phase, and we adjusted sizing just a little bit based on feedback from hundreds of women. And then now we're going to start working on the marketing and advertising. I don't do paid ads at this point. So it's really just been mouth and letting it spread kind of organically. So she's going to help me with some of the marketing now.
Awesome. That's incredible. Okay, so I just found you on Instagram. How have I not been following you all this time? So guys, if you're looking for her on Instagram, she's Green Cloud Apparel. This is the yummiest scrubs you'll ever see. And so did you have any imposter syndrome as you're designing and building this company? And you're like, oh, well, Figs is so big and, you've got all these different scrubs companies. So how did you overcome that?
I don't feel like I'm competing with anyone. I feel like there's enough room because I really brought my own style to this. I didn't look at it at all as a competition, right? I thought celebrate everyone in all different ways. I've been mostly focusing on female physicians, but of course, anyone in medicine and anyone who enjoys the product can wear these.
Absolutely. I think veterinarians, they would look awesome in this.
veterinarians that have found the company somehow and are loving them. So that's fun. I'm like, post pictures with the dogs, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a couple of veterinarian patients, so I'll have to share the company with them as well.
Yeah, no, but I really just want women in general. I mean, because hopefully a lot of women go see women physicians, right? I think we feel a little bit more comfortable with female physicians. I think female physicians, and we know this from the literature, treat patients a little bit better.
Yeah.
We also know that 6 years after all this training and practicing, about 40% of female physicians will leave medicine. So we need to do something about this. And the more we can celebrate and thank our female physicians and, make them feel special, I think the better.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love that I'm hearing that you created this company and you've decided to enjoy it and really celebrate every little win along the way and love it instead of like forcing it to be what you think it should be, right? You're not shitting all over your company. Like we should be at this $50,000 mark or whatever, your mark is, right? Like you're just pushing it forward, taking the next right step, but you're not setting it at high expectations that keep you from enjoying the process.
Right. And that's very difficult for our personality, right?
Yes.
I have myself over and over again. And the best way to kind of do that is to just pause and look, where were you a couple months ago? And where was, obviously I have goals and now I want to work on this, but I don't put specific, I need to sell this many or this amount, or because I just feel like you don't want, why do that? It's going in the right direction. And if it doesn't, then I'll stop and try to change things a little bit. But as long as I'm feeling good about what I'm doing and it's getting better each month, then I think, hey, let's just keep going this way.
So you're doing more of what works and less of what doesn't work, just making those little micro adjustments a lot of the way.
And I certainly have made mistakes along the way. I think any entrepreneur will tell you that.
Totally.
And I just look at failing though as figuring it out. So
yeah,
I pivot a little bit and do it a little bit different until you figure out what works.
So the great Dr. Latifa of Money Fit MD says you're either earning or you're learning.
That sums it up perfectly. Yes.
Yes. So tell us just one mistake that you're like, oh, if you could help another entrepreneur avoid it.
Yeah. One mistake was allowing the imposter syndrome in the beginning because I didn't tell many people about this. I thought, you know what, this is my crazy idea. Mm-hmm. I'm embarrassed to tell people that I'm, backing off medicine and starting this. And so I kind of kept it a secret. I mean, my design team and branding team obviously knew, but I didn't tell too many people, and I didn't start building social media and, here comes this launch and this amazing product. And I wish in the beginning I would have started pushing it a little bit more and bringing more women in, because then I found out when I finally did launch it that my sizing was off just a little bit. And so if I would have reached out to more women in the beginning and said, hey, come try these, I was kind of like, I don't know, but that was really from imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Yes, I could see that because, if you have this crazy idea, you're always going to have the naysayers, right? But if it's something that you're passionate about, you just have to tell everybody, like in the grocery store line, at the dry cleaners, like wherever you are, you're talking about your product, you're giving them a QR code or you're handing them a business card or whatever, like you are sharing the word, because then you're also building your network because you obviously have a network of women physicians, right? And then you start sharing it with all them, boom. So whoever's in your realm, whatever it is, I feel like when you start putting it out in the universe, you attract that back and you make the right connections to grow and go to the next level.
Yes. I mean, anytime I felt like nervous, or I would go and literally put the scrubs on, and then, like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. These feel so good. They make me stand a little bit taller. And
yes,
I'd put them on and I would kind of reset my mind.
Yeah.
And over time, I'm now less of an introvert with my scrubs.
So you're owning that you're an entrepreneur and that you're a fashion designer. I mean, how cool is that?
Business, not a hobby anymore. So yeah,
That's right.
been some shifting of my mindset along the way. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, such a cool story, Laurie. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I can't wait to show these off to everybody. They're so fabulous. So until next week, be well.
Thank you.
All right, Sky community, thank you for listening to another episode. This episode was sponsored by Sky Women's Health. As a reminder, we're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we help relieve back pain and pelvic pain in pregnancy and beyond. If you are pregnant and having pain and you feel like you have no reliable way to relieve it, look us up at skywomenshealth.com, request an appointment, and we'll call to get you scheduled. As a board-certified OB-GYN with a neuromusculoskeletal medicine fellowship, I help you realign with hands-on drug-free treatment and relieve pain on the spot without medication. We'll help you maintain these results through your pregnancy and postpartum period. Every pregnant person deserves this, and we are so excited to serve you. You can find us on our website, as mentioned, or on social at Sky Women's Health, or you can call the office at 817-915-9803. That's it for today. Until next week, be well.